Today on Us Weekly's reality recap, Bethenny Frankel has not spoken to Andy Cohen amid her reality TV reckoning. Raquel deletes her apology to Ariana Madix on Instagram, plus why she asked for the same salary as Ariana and Sandoval before quitting Pump Rules. All that and so much more on today's reality recap. Hi guys, Mandy DeCamp here with Us Weekly's deputy editor, Sarah Huron, filling in for Christina this week. Welcome, Sarah.
Thanks, Mandy. I'm really excited to yell about Bethenny Frankel.
Oh my gosh, we have so much Sandoval news to get to, but it's almost like, I almost want to call it reality reckoning now. I feel like it's like the new term for just everything Sandoval.
Right. It's what Bethenny wants us to be calling it, and it is definitely tied together, but also I have problems with her phrasing.
Okay, we'll get to that. Also, I'm so curious if she's going to trademark that because I feel like it's going to be her next podcast name.
We could be getting sued right now for saying it.
True. All right, let's get to our fan comments from last week. Mother of 2288 says, I think there is some truth to Tom and Ariana's relationship being a brand. For years, people talked about how they were only a couple when the cameras were on. Rumors like that don't get started without a nugget of truth. Not that they didn't love each other. I truly think they did, but you even see in the show that they didn't spend much time together. Possibly some truth there. We've all talked about that a little bit. I go back and forth all the time, but what do you think, Sarah?
I mean, even if there is some truth to that, they were still a partnership. They were still in a romantic relationship to some degree, and it does not make an excuse for a months-long affair for Sandoval to think he can do that. I think it's a convenient narrative. I think they always love that on Vanderpump Rules. You were my glorified roommate. You were my business partner. That's like their favorite saying, and it doesn't excuse your bad behavior.
Nope, definitely. All right, what else did our fans have to say?
Well, Patriots 1262 says, I'm more of a Rachel fan now. There's always two sides to stories. And that can be some people's takeaway. I didn't quite have the same experience, but I'm glad it worked for other people.
I wouldn't say I'm more of a Rachel fan, but I'm not less of a Rachel fan after watching it, if that makes sense. I'm somewhere in the middle. Somehow evened it out for me. Okay, hey, it's Jazz1397 said, I thought Bethenny did a great job giving her space to tell her side. She took accountability and explained the truth at the same time. There were a lot of heated comments about Bethenny in our comments last week. People are very split over whether or not Bethenny should have done this interview, given that she's never really seen the show. People are back and forth on that.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely points where I'm like, it makes sense that Bethenny's the one leading this conversation. And there were other points where I was like, it literally makes no sense that Bethenny was the one leading this conversation because she didn't hold Raquel accountable at all for her actions. I understand it was about the backlash. It was about the next steps. But she downplayed, as a result, it downplays the affair, in my opinion. And that turned me off of both of them in certain parts. And other parts, I was like, all right, you obviously do have experience with Bravo, with reality TV, but you're missing key points to the storyline. And you can't just have Raquel downplay her relationship with Ariana and downplay Tom and Ariana's relationship without someone being like, honey, on the show, you called him your best friend 6 times.
Yeah. I see your point. I do think Bethenny made more sense than Howie Mandel. To me, Howie Mandel had zero place in this narrative, this story that's being told, to be a part of it. Why are we even saying his name in reality TV?
Right, but the bar was set so low. We shouldn't even, that's an insane thing to have to even bring up. I mean, you're right, but the bar should not be at Howie Mandel.
Yeah. There's talks that Lisa Vanderpump was going to do the sit down with Raquel Rachel. Would you have rather seen Lisa do it?
Yeah, I mean, Lisa, I think according to Raquel Rachel, begged her to come back, said we've seen it before when Stassi crawled her way back into the show. She had to do the big sit down with Lisa. She's crying. You hate me, Lisa. I get it. I think Lisa Vanderpump, honestly, her role on Vanderpump Rules, the only real reason for her to still be there is for those moments where she has to almost play the audience, the disappointed mom, to kind of break the wall a little bit and be like, well, can this group let you back in? Can I let you back into SUR? When it's that's not the point, but she does do a good job of holding them accountable, but also is always sympathetic because she doesn't want to come off evil. So I think honestly, Lisa Vanderpump would have been very interesting to have her talk to Raquel.
Just thinking it out, talking it out with you right now, I almost would have loved to see Lisa Vanderpump with Bethany. So it's a little bit Lisa's the side of the show, and then you have Bethany, who's kind of the antagonist. I don't know. Obviously, that's not happening, but
Rachel would have never gotten a word in.
No, that's so true. All right, well, let's get into the news, break it all down for you guys. Bethenny Frankel, as we've been speaking about, is on the mic again after sparking controversy with her 3-part conversation with Rachel. She spoke on her Just Be podcast on Tuesday saying, what a whirlwind, interviewing Rachel, going viral, breaking the internet, so many rumors, so many press articles, and it's unsettling, to be honest. She's gotten a lot of hate in the world, and I'm taking a lot of that hate now. And it's been really interesting because I'm proud of myself for not caring really that much. Her interview marked the first time, of course, that Rachel has spoken out since Sandoval. So listeners accused Bethenny of capitalizing on Rachel's trauma, despite alleging the producers and the networks are doing the same. She said, some people say to me, oh, wow, is Andy Cohen mad you're doing this? Have you spoken to him? And I say, I have not, but I'm sure he is. And this is not a target on Andy. This is not a target on Bravo. This is about a systemic issue in the entertainment industry. She also referenced reports that she pitched a series about Connecticut moms to Bravo 6 months ago. She said people have come and said, oh, aren't you a hypocrite? If I'm a hypocrite because there was a show that I was talking about. I was never talking to Bravo, by the way. I was talking to a production company. I spoke to Andy one time, but he wasn't even working on this project. And I spoke to a production company, and Bravo was the most logical place that this project would live about Connecticut. And a couple of months ago, I decided I didn't want to do it anymore. She continued, and I didn't know that I would even talk about this reality reckoning or have a problem with exploitation. I didn't really think about it. So she went on to address speculation that she didn't pay Rachel for the podcast. She said people are saying, oh, I should be paying her. They're trying to say that I'm exploiting her for ratings to live on the rest of her life. Whether I paid her or not, how do you know what I did? How do you know what I'm doing with her? Nobody knows what I'm really doing, but I love the speculation. And the thing that people don't realize, particularly on TikTok, but definitely social media in general, bring it on. I love it. We're number one worldwide. We're having a conversation with a woman who hasn't been able to get a conversation out unedited, and everyone thinks that they saw everything on this television show. Whew, that's a lot to unfold. I mean, Bethany's going to keep speaking. She obviously has a daily podcast, so we're going to keep talking about her here. What do you think about this?
I mean, nothing if not humble are Bethenny Frankel talking about how she's breaking the internet and how exhausted she is and how she's so proud she doesn't care. But clearly she cares enough to spend 33 minutes talking to herself about the success of her own podcast episode. So that was a choice. I think that, the Andy Cohen of it all really does interest me. That relationship has been up and down a lot over the years. Andy was always praising Bethenny, called it a gift for her gift for fans and for himself when she came back to Roni during that season 7 after she took a few years off. They were close even after she left. Like, he was like, thank you for coming back. They would go hang out in the Hamptons together. And then ever since she launched that Rewipes podcast a couple years ago, and now there's been like a little weirdness. And they had that awkward Watch What Happens Live a couple months ago where Bethenny claimed she was like ambushed by Jeff Lewis making fun of her podcasts. And now, I mean, you have to imagine he's not happy. And it always makes me sad when you hear about Nene or Bethany or these like iconic OG housewives who are burning bridges with the network or burning bridges with Andy. And I'm sure there's some truth to all sides in all of this. It's definitely a dirty world, but it is in some degree a world that you are part of. And this podcast, like the fact that Bethenny still has a podcast actively rewatching Housewives episodes while also telling people not to rewatch Housewives episodes because we're not getting residuals as reality stars. She really is just like a walking hypocrite all the time. Like, I don't get it.
I mean, I think that's like the definition of a hypocrite a little bit. Right. So you're totally right, I think. Tell us in the comments what you think. Is Bethenny a hypocrite for having a podcast about rewatching the Housewives when she doesn't want other people to rewatch the Housewives? It's interesting. I mean, I think Bethenny is a little bit playing us all. I think that she enjoys watching this all unfold and watching us all get heated about it. I think she thrives on that. And then also, I want to see this Connecticut show that she had in development. Can we also please circle back to that and get more info on it?
Yeah, even that, she was like, I wasn't talking to Bravo. I wasn't talking to Andy. I mean, I talked to Andy once. Also, if Bravo would make sense for the show. And I didn't know, she was like, I didn't think I would care about the reality reckoning 6 months ago. So meaning 6 months ago, you didn't care about this alleged exploitation, but now it's your whole brand. So I'm like, what are we doing here? I did read rumors that show was going to feature what's her name? Ava Marino, the daughter of Susan Sarandon, or the woman who has the blog.
Okay. I can look it up.
I don't know if that's true, but I'd have to, that was the rumor. So she was the one who like got divorced and like blogged about it every 10 seconds.
Wow. All right. Well, I mean, I'd be interested. I know rich people in Connecticut, and I feel like it is a perfect setting for the next, I mean, wouldn't it just be a Housewives of Connecticut?
That's always how they start, right? They do these like pilots about moms in the area, and then they're like, oh, it makes sense to be a housewife show. And it's like, oh, shocker.
Yeah, we did that years ago with Princesses of Long Island. I don't know if you were a fan of that. It was right up my alley as a Long Islander, and it was just like, why isn't this just Housewives of Long Island? I don't get it.
Yeah, like the way Dallas was like about charity and then like rebranded to Housewives, like obviously, or Roni was Manhattan Moms for like a day, and then Roni.
Oh, also speaking of the new Roni, I just wanted to mention Andy Cohen is spending a lot of time with Jenna Lyons in the Hamptons. And I feel like I would love to be on a fly on that wall because I guarantee they were talking about Bethany and all of this at their like lunch yesterday in the Hamptons. And I feel like she's his new Bethany.
I think so too. And Jenna Lyons isn't on the BravoCon list. And I wonder if Andy like took it upon himself to be like, Jenna, let's talk about how you're the face of Roni and you must go to BravoCon. Please come over to my nice Hamptons home.
Oh, that makes total sense. She has to be there.
Yeah, I know. She has to.
Okay.
Well, keeping in Vanderpump world, Raquel Rachel has made it clear that she is moving on from the drama by revamping her social media and apparently deleting her apology to Ariana, the one she told Bethany she stood by the way. Eagle-eyed fans noticed that Raquel has updated her Instagram bio, which now reads, "Becoming a better person, one day at a time." The social media shakeup also included Raquel wiping away pictures of her Vanderpump co-stars. Ariana, Chyna, and James were all previously featured on her grid before the change. She added a link to her Bethenny podcast in her bio and scrubbed the apology from her platform.
I'm okay with this.
Are you?
I am. I feel like she is rebranding, and if she wants to unfollow people or not have that apology live on her grid for the rest of her life, that's okay. What do you think?
I mean, she did tell Bethany she wanted to start a podcast for people, what it's like really like to be the other woman, and explore that. And I just think, listen, you can erase whatever you want from your grid. I'm sorry, girl. Like, this is part of who you are. You got to own what happened. You did literally just tell Bethany that you stood by the apology, so then to erase it is a little taking a cue from maybe Bethany of some hypocrisy here. Yeah. And like, you can do whatever you want next, but this is the part of your past. I think it would be better to just own it, change your bio, whatever, but scrubbing it all, deleting things from social, like, it's just a lame move in my opinion. Like, we all know what happened. Those photos live on usmagazine.com. They air on Bravo. I don't know. I'll be curious to see what happens. I think it's a mistake not to go back to the show. I think she would have, as Lala said on her show today, had more of an impact doing the show. They probably would have given her some sort of redemption. She would have made more money. Vanderpump Rules, more so than any reality show, they forgive each other. They move on. Yeah. It's crazy the way that they usually do. So I think it was a mistake, but also, like, I'm not Rachel or Raquel. I don't know how dark it actually got. So good luck.
Good luck. If you were, as an avid reality TV show watcher that you are, just curious what your opinion is. Would you have liked to see Raquel back on the show, Raquel Rachel? Or do you think?
I would have. I was really holding out hope that she was going to complete her mental health treatment. Obviously, I think that's very important, and I wouldn't want her to walk back into the lion's den not prepared. I was anticipating that she was going to be gone for most of the season and come back at the end and do some sort of like Stassi halfway through the season, talk to Lisa, kind of try to see if there's any relationship still there. I think that it would have been more powerful. I always think a redemption arc is there. I think we're going to see Tom Sandoval probably get some positive editing. I don't think he would have come back if he didn't. I think Tom coming back would have given her an ally. I think she could have won Schwartz over. Sheena can pretend all she wants. She would have never forgiven her. Sheena's forgiven everyone for everything. Yeah. Lala clearly reached out to Rachel. I think Lala and Ariana must have a conflict because she reached out to Raquel to try to lend an ear, as Raquel said it. So this show, more than any show, welcomes back the scorned and the problem. And I think she would have gotten her coin. And if it was a horrible experience, she didn't have to come back again. But I think it would have benefited her and us.
I agree. I agree with you. I think, after the mental health facility, if she felt mentally prepared for this, she should have gone back. And I totally agree, especially seeing some of these photos of Tom Sandoval smiling with the group, walking into a bar behind Ariana, which just shocked me. I do feel like if they can forgive Tom, they can forgive Raquel, and there may have been some kind of redemption there. Even just one more season, even just a few episodes of the season. Yeah. Especially after a lot of people online have spoken up about, not defending Raquel, but just that they didn't murder anyone, that you have to stop, berating them. So I do feel like there was a possibility there of some redemption, and we'll never know now.
We'll never know. The way that reunion went, Raquel should have walked away and been like, if I give this room, like, I still have an opening here, because people were like very split on if they went too far at the reunion. So she definitely got sympathy.
Yeah, she did. So Lisa Vanderpump has spoken out about Raquel not returning, and she actually said there's no point for her to return. She told TMZ this week, when she was in the facility, her team texted and emailed us. We wanted to make sure she was in a good place first, and I was going to do a one-on-one sit down with her. She talked about returning. Her team reached out, but in the end, I think she decided not to. Raquel, of course, told Bethany she didn't ask me how I was. She didn't ask me what I've been dealing with since the last time she saw me at the reunion. She almost got me back because I did want to share my side of the story like we talked about. Lisa went on to say that the cast doesn't really believe anything she says, so it doesn't matter if Raquel came back on the show or not. She added that the series was successful before her. I love how Lisa Vanderpump always throws some shade, no matter what the situation is. So obviously, Lisa, there might be some harsh feelings there with her and Raquel.
Raquel. No, she's definitely bitter. Like, she can pretend it's fine, and it is fine. Like, the show's still going to go on. It'll still be good, but like, it would have been better with Rachel. And I do think it's worth noting that she tried to get the same amount of money as Tom and Ariana. She told Bethany. And while I do understand that to some degree, like, you should definitely get paid a lot, my understanding of how Bravo does it is you get like increases by the season. And Tom Sandoval has been on the show since season 1. Ariana since season 2. Raquel didn't join as a full-time cast member till like season 7 or 8. She was like a guest from 5, 6. So for sure, she deserves money, and she should probably even get a profit of some of the merch that Bravo is selling. I agree with that. But I don't know. I thought that was a weird comment to think she should get as much as them when they've been on the show for a little longer. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. Tom Sandoval, as much as we all can't stand him right now, day one he's been on that show. He has shown us his life for many years. So I agree. He should get a little bit more money. All right, getting to our social spotlight of the week, it goes to Andy Cohen. He posed with Ed Sheeran, his bestie John Mayer, and Bon Jovi. He said, one of these things is not like the other, of course, meaning himself. He said, hear my interview with Ed Sheeran, link in my bio. What an odd group of people. And I bet they were in the Hamptons. And I was just picturing like walking into a bar, seeing these 4 guys. I would literally melt.
Where would you go first? Like, who would you try
John Mayer. I would just like jump on John Mayer. Yeah, for sure. How about you?
I love that. I don't know. I mean, Andy would be probably my all-time favorite of them, but I've met him before. And then as a Jersey girl, it's like, do I try to give respect to Bon Jovi? But I probably would be with Ed Sheeran.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Sarah, for recapping everything reality with us. We will see you all next week.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.